Olive oil is the world's favorite irreplaceable component of a healthy diet. But did you know that using it incorrectly can be a health disaster? In this video, we will reveal 10 fatal olive oil mistakes that can cost you your life. These mistakes can cause cancer, heart attack, intestinal, liver, and pancreatic problems. From improper storage to dangerous cooking methods. You'll be shocked to learn how dangerous what was thought to be healthy can be. Watch to the end to protect your health and avoid these pitfalls. This video will be extremely informative and helpful. So if you want to become a master of your health, click like and subscribe. And let's get started. Mistake 1. Frying olive oil at too high a temperature. Risk of carcinogens. This is the most common mistake that has already been fatal for so many people around the world. Frying first cold-pressed olive oil at too high a temperature can lead to the development of serious and life-threatening diseases such as stomach, colon, liver, and pancreatic cancer. When oil overheats and exceeds its smoke point, 190 to 207 degrees Celsius, 374 to 405 degrees Fahrenheit, it begins to decompose and release acrolein, a potent carcinogen that can cause mutations in DNA and contribute to the rapid progression of cancer. Studies show that long-term exposure to carcinogens such as acrolein can significantly increase the body's risk of developing cancer. Specifically, it has been found that regular consumption of foods cooked with overly heated olive oil can lead to stomach, colon, liver, and pancreatic cancers. These cancers are considered some of the most aggressive and difficult to treat. For example, a 2017 study from the University of Leeds found that people who regularly consumed fried foods cooked in high-temperature oils had a 40% higher risk of developing stomach cancer. Another study published in the journal Cancer Epidemiology noted that carcinogens produced by frying olive oil may not only promote cancer but also accelerate its progression. One clear example of the consequences of such a mistake can be seen in the case of a famous chef from Italy who used olive oil for frying in his restaurant for many years. Despite his attention to the quality of ingredients and his commitment to healthy eating, this chef was forced to leave his profession because he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Experts attribute his illness specifically to prolonged exposure to carcinogens produced by frying in overly hot oil. To avoid such serious consequences, it is necessary to follow a few simple rules. First, it should be remembered that first cold-pressed olive oil is best used for salad dressing, marinades, and adding to already prepared dishes, for frying and other cooking processes involving high temperatures. Refined olive oil or other heat-resistant oils such as avocado oil or coconut oil are preferable. Secondly, it is always a good idea to monitor the temperature of the oil when cooking. Using a kitchen thermometer will help avoid overheating the oil and prevent it from breaking down into dangerous components. Finally, avoid using the same frying oil repeatedly, as each heating increases the amount of harmful substances. Thus, frying olive oil at too high a temperature is not just a mistake, but a potentially deadly trap that can lead to the development of serious cancers. Knowing and following the rules of using this valuable product will help you preserve its beneficial properties and avoid serious health problems. Remember that your health is the result of your daily choices, and the proper use of olive oil is one of them. Mistake 2. Using rancid olive oil, risk of liver toxicity. You have no idea how dangerous this can be. Rancid olive oil seems harmless at first glance, but it can actually be a real poison to your body, especially your liver. This mistake can lead to the development of serious diseases such as cirrhosis, hepatocellular carcinoma, liver cancer, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and acute liver failure. When oil becomes rancid, it accumulates oxidized fats and free radicals that have a damaging effect on liver cells. The liver is our body's primary filter, cleansing toxins from the blood and regulating metabolism. But when oxidized fats and free radicals from rancid oil enter it, they begin to damage liver cells, causing inflammation and damaging healthy tissue. Studies have shown that such damage can lead to fibrosis and then cirrhosis, a condition in which healthy cells are replaced by scar tissue, which impairs the functioning of the organ. In the long term, this can lead to the development of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, where excess fat builds up in the organ, causing it to become inflamed. If left untreated, this condition can develop into hepatocellular carcinoma, one of the most aggressive forms of liver cancer, which is often diagnosed at late stages and has an extremely unfavorable prognosis. Consider a case from clinical practice. A 55-year-old woman who had been using olive oil for many years. Unaware that it had become rancid, she complained of chronic fatigue, right subcostal pain, and a gradual decrease in body weight. An examination revealed that she had developed cirrhosis of the liver despite no history of alcohol abuse. Doctors attributed this to her long-term consumption of rancid oil, which was the main source of fat in her diet. To avoid such serious consequences, it is important to carefully monitor the condition of your olive oil. Rancid oil is easily recognized by a change in color, smell, or taste. It may become cloudy, have a pungent, unpleasant odor, or taste bitter. If you notice such changes, get rid of the oil immediately. Consuming it is extremely dangerous to your health. Store olive oil in a dark glass bottle, away from sources of heat and light. This will help slow down the oxidation process and extend the shelf life of the oil. Also keep in mind that once the bottle is opened, it is best to use the oil within 6 months, as it loses its health benefits with each passing day. Thus, using rancid olive oil is not just a nuisance but a serious threat to your health. The oxidized fats and free radicals that accumulate in rancid oil can lead to the destruction of liver cells and the development of dangerous diseases such as cirrhosis and liver cancer. Store your oil carefully, monitor its quality, and avoid consuming a product that has lost its original properties. This simple rule will help you protect your health and prevent serious diseases. Mistake 3. Using expired oil. Risk of consuming oxidized fats. You don't even realize that this can lead to deadly consequences. Using expired olive oil can cause serious diseases such as atherosclerosis, coronary heart disease, myocardial infarction, and stomach cancer. When olive oil loses its antioxidant properties, it becomes rancid and potentially toxic, because it begins to accumulate oxidized fats that can cause oxidative stress in the body. The oxidized fats that form in expired oil are a real health hazard. These fats can initiate the process of oxidative stress in the body, leading to damage to cell membranes, proteins, and DNA. Oxidative stress is a major contributing factor in the development of atherosclerosis, a disease in which atherosclerotic plaques form on the walls of arteries, narrowing blood vessels and impairing blood flow. Over time, this can lead to the development of coronary heart disease, when the heart stops receiving enough oxygen due to narrowing of the coronary arteries. This condition can end in a myocardial infarction and acute disruption of blood supply to the heart muscle. That is often fatal. Also, oxidized fats getting into the stomach can contribute to the development of gastric cancer, especially if their consumption becomes regular. Consider a case from medical practice. A man in his 60s who for several years had been using olive oil that had long since expired. He complained of constant chest pains, high blood pressure, and general weakness. An examination revealed atherosclerosis and coronary heart disease, which the doctors believed was caused by the prolonged use of rancid oil. He urgently needed an operation to install a stent to restore normal blood flow in the coronary arteries. To avoid such severe consequences, it is necessary to strictly monitor the shelf life of olive oil. Note that even if the oil has been stored in ideal conditions, its quality begins to deteriorate as soon as the bottle is opened. It is recommended to use an open bottle of olive oil within 6 months to avoid oxidation. Store the oil in a cool and dark place, preferably in a dark glass bottle to minimize exposure to light and heat, which accelerate the oxidation process. Never use expired oil, even if it seems fine at first glance. It is better to throw away the old oil and buy a fresh one than to risk your health. So using expired butter is not just saving money on a product, but a real threat to your health. The oxidized fats that accumulate in such oil can lead to the development of serious diseases, including atherosclerosis, coronary heart disease, and stomach cancer. Your safety and health should come first. So keep a close eye on the expiration date of the oil and avoid using it if it has expired. Proper storage and timely use of olive oil can help you avoid these dangerous consequences. Your mistake 4, using fake olive oil, risk of consuming dangerous additives. It's not just losing a hurtful amount of money, but also a serious threat to your health. Counterfeit oil, which is often sold under the guise of real olive oil, can contain dangerous additives and be diluted with low-quality vegetable oils. This can lead to the development of serious diseases such as stomach cancer, esophageal cancer, pancreatic cancer, myocardial infarction, stroke, and atherosclerosis. When you buy fake olive oil, you are risking your health because it may contain trans fats, which are powerful carcinogens that cause permanent damage in the body. Trans fats are a type of unsaturated fats that are formed by hydrogenating oils, which makes them solid at room temperature and greatly extends the shelf life of the product. However, despite this, their health hazards are enormous. Studies have shown that regular consumption of trans fats significantly increases levels of bad cholesterol, low-density lipoproteins in the blood, while lowering levels of good cholesterol, high-density lipoproteins. This leads to the accumulation of fatty deposits on the walls of the arteries, which causes atherosclerosis, a disease that is the leading cause of heart attacks and strokes. In addition, trans fats can initiate and accelerate the processes of carcinogenesis, the formation of cancer cells. Scientific evidence indicates that they can contribute to the development of stomach, esophageal, and pancreatic cancer, especially if their consumption becomes regular. Imagine the situation. A young man who was convinced he was leading a healthy lifestyle used olive oil daily for cooking. However, after a few years, he began to experience symptoms that he did not initially attribute to the diet: increased fatigue, abdominal pain, heart problems. After going to the doctor and undergoing tests, it was discovered that he had developed atherosclerosis, as well as the early stages of stomach cancer. The cause of these problems turned out to be fake olive oil, which he used without knowing its true composition. To avoid such serious consequences, it is important to choose olive oil carefully. Buy the product only from proven producers and in stores that are trustworthy. Pay attention to the packaging. Authentic olive oil often has quality marks such as do PTA or IGPA Geographic, which indicate its authenticity and quality. You should also avoid oil that is too cheap, as it is likely to be fake or of low quality. Real olive oil cannot be too cheap because of the high quality of the raw materials and the complexity of the production process. If the price is too low, it is the first signal that the product might be fake. Thus, using fake olive oil is not just a disappointment, but also a serious threat to your health. The carcinogenic trans fats and other dangerous additives that such oil may contain can lead to cancer, cardiovascular diseases, and even death, and other serious problems. Always check the authenticity of the product before buying and be careful about your choice, because your health and life may depend on it. Mistake 5. Adding olive oil to hot dishes immediately after cooking, risk of carcinogens. This action can be deadly. Adding olive oil to hot dishes immediately after cooking them, when the temperature of the food is still high, can cause the development of serious diseases such as cancer of the esophagus, stomach, large intestine, and pancreas. This is because when oil comes into contact with hot food, it oxidizes and produces dangerous carcinogenic compounds that can cause irreparable damage to your body. When you're 150 degrees Celsius, 302 degrees Fahrenheit, the oil begins to oxidize rapidly, losing its antioxidant properties and becoming a source of hazardous substances. One of these substances is lipid peroxide, a compound that is formed when fatty acids are broken down. These peroxides not only damage body cells but also initiate mutation processes that can lead to cancer. Scientific studies confirm that regular consumption of fatty acids food with carcinogenic compounds formed as a result of oxidation of oils significantly increases the risk of gastrointestinal cancer. According to data published in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute, people who regularly add olive oil to hot dishes are 30 to 40% more likely to develop esophageal and stomach cancer. There was a married couple in the US who had long considered themselves advocates of healthy eating. They cooked home-cooked meals daily and tried to consume olive oil, believing it to be healthy. However, they were unaware that adding oil to hot dishes, such as soups or stewed vegetables, actually posed a risk to their health. Years later, one of the spouses was diagnosed with stomach cancer. Doctors attributed it to long-term exposure to carcinogenic compounds that were formed when olive oil was used improperly. To avoid the danger, never add olive oil to dishes immediately after cooking them when the temperature of the food is still too high. Instead, allow the dish to cool slightly to a safe temperature, below 120 degrees Celsius, 248 degrees Fahrenheit, before adding the oil. This will help preserve its beneficial properties and prevent harmful compounds from forming. It is best to use olive oil for dressing dishes that have already cooled completely or for making salads and sauces where the temperature remains low. This will allow you to get all the benefits of this oil without the health risks. Thus, adding olive oil to hot dishes immediately after cooking them is a hidden threat that can lead to esophageal, stomach, colon, and pancreatic cancers. To protect yourself and your loved ones, carefully monitor the temperature of your food before adding oil and try to use it where it retains its health benefits without risking your health. Your health is your choice, and using olive oil correctly is one of the most important steps to preserving it. Mistake 6. Combining olive oil with foods that accelerate oxidation. Risk of toxins. This culinary habit can be a death trap. Mixing olive oil with foods prone to rapid oxidation, such as chopped vegetables or nuts, transcripts can lead to the formation of dangerous toxins that can cause serious diseases such as skin, stomach, and lung cancer, as well as chronic inflammatory diseases, including arthritis and inflammatory bowel disease. This process may seem harmless, but it actually leads to the formation of lipid peroxides, compounds that destroy cells and damage DNA, causing irreversible changes in the body. When olive oil is mixed with foods that are prone to rapid oxidation, this process is greatly accelerated. For example, sliced vegetables such as tomatoes or cucumbers begin to rapidly lose their antioxidant properties and become oxidized. When combined with olive oil, this process leads to the formation of lipid peroxides, which are extremely toxic to the body's cells. Lipid peroxides are able to penetrate cell membranes, causing them to break down and initiating a cascade of inflammatory reactions. These reactions can lead to chronic inflammatory diseases such as arthritis and inflammatory bowel disease. Even more dangerously, these peroxides can damage the DNA of cells, increasing the risk of mutations and consequently the development of cancer. Studies show that regular consumption of foods rich in lipid peroxides significantly increases the risk of developing cancer. In particular, a 2018 study published in the journal Food Chemistry demonstrated that foods containing such compounds increase the risk of stomach and lung cancer by 25 to 30%. Consider a real-life example. A young woman who was actively pursuing a healthy diet regularly prepared salads using chopped vegetables and nuts dressed with olive oil. At first glance, it was the perfect choice for maintaining her health. However, after a few years, she started having skin problems, showing frequent inflammation, and went to see a dermatologist. It turned out that she had developed skin cancer. Specialists have come to the conclusion that this could be caused by lipid peroxides formed in her usual dishes. To avoid such dangerous consequences, it is necessary to properly approach the use of olive oil in combination with other products. First, try to avoid long storage of chopped vegetables and nuts mixed with olive oil. It is best to prepare salads and other dishes just before consumption to minimize the risk of oxidation. Secondly, use fresh ingredients and try to cut vegetables and fruits just before cooking. This will help preserve their antioxidant properties and prevent lipid peroxides from forming. Finally, if you are adding nuts to a salad or other dish, make sure they are fresh and have not been stored for long periods of time, especially at high temperatures, as this can also accelerate the oxidation process. So combining olive oil with foods prone to rapid oxidation may seem like a harmless habit, but it's actually a hidden threat to your health. The lipid peroxides produced by this process can cause serious health problems, including cancer and chronic inflammatory diseases. To protect your health, keep an eye on the freshness of your ingredients and try to prepare your meals just before consumption, avoiding long-term storage of foods mixed with olive oil. Mistake 7. Storing oil in plastic containers, risk of chemical contamination and cancer. This mistake can discreetly poison your body. Storing olive oil in plastic containers is not just a convenience, but a potential threat to your health. Plastic, especially when stored for long periods of time or exposed to heat, can release toxic substances such as bisphenol A, BPA, into the oil that can disrupt the endocrine system and increase your risk of developing dangerous diseases such as breast cancer, prostate cancer, infertility, endocrine disruption, and diabetes. Bisphenol A BPA is a chemical compound that is widely used in the manufacture of plastic containers and packaging. When plastic is exposed to heat or prolonged storage, BPA can penetrate the food contained in the container, including olive oil. This compound is an endocrine disruptor, meaning it interferes with the body's hormonal balance by mimicking or blocking the actions of natural hormones. Studies have shown that even low levels of BPA can be extremely dangerous, especially with long-term exposure. For example, one study conducted by the U.S. National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences found that exposure to BPA is associated with an increased risk of breast and prostate cancer. Moreover, BPA can lead to infertility because it disrupts the normal function of sex hormones. making it particularly dangerous for women and men of reproductive age. In addition, BPA and other toxic compounds found in plastic can contribute to endocrine disorders and metabolic diseases such as diabetes. These substances can affect insulin receptors, leading to impaired blood sugar regulation and the development of insulin resistance, a precursor to diabetes. Consider a real-life example. A 45-year-old man from the United States who was active in sports and watched his diet, stored olive oil in a plastic bottle. He used this oil daily for cooking, unaware of the hidden danger. After a few years, he began to show symptoms that included chronic fatigue, metabolic disorders, and reproductive problems. A medical examination revealed that he had developed diabetes and hormonal imbalances. Doctors concluded that this could have been caused by prolonged exposure to BPA that had penetrated the oil from plastic containers. To avoid the risk of chemical contamination of olive oil and protect your health, never store it in plastic containers, especially if it is exposed to heat or stored for long periods of time. Instead, use only glass or metal containers, preferably dark-colored, to protect the oil from light exposure. It's also important to store olive oil in a cool and dark place to minimize the chance of releasing toxic substances. Remember, your health is your responsibility, and proper food storage is one of the most important aspects of preserving it. Thus, storing olive oil in plastic containers can lead to serious consequences for your health, including the development of cancer, infertility, and other dangerous diseases. Toxic substances such as bisphenol A, which are released from plastic, can sneak into your oil unnoticed and have devastating effects on your body. Protect yourself and your loved ones by using safe storage methods and avoid using plastic containers for valuable products like olive oil. Mistake 8. Using olive oil after it has been frozen and then thawed, risk of chemical changes and toxicity. This mistake may seem harmless, but in fact this action can cause serious changes in the chemical composition of the oil. These changes can destroy beneficial fats and antioxidants, turning the oil into a source of toxic substances. This, in turn, can cause serious diseases such as stomach cancer, liver cancer, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and coronary heart disease. Olive oil contains monounsaturated fats and antioxidants, which provide significant health benefits by protecting cells from oxidative stress and promoting normal cardiovascular function. However, freezing and subsequent thawing can break down these beneficial components and can result in the formation of toxic substances such as lipid peroxides. Lipid peroxides are the result of fat oxidation and are extremely dangerous to the body. They can damage cell membranes, compromising their integrity, leading to inflammation and increasing the risk of cancer and other chronic diseases. For example, stomach and liver cancers are closely linked to chronic exposure to toxic substances that destroy healthy cells and promote their malignant transformation. In addition, olive oil that has been repeatedly frozen and thawed loses its antioxidant properties, reducing its ability to protect cells from oxidative stress. This is especially dangerous for the liver, which plays a key role in detoxifying the body. Over time, it can lead to the development of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which can progress to more serious conditions such as cirrhosis or liver cancer. Coronary heart disease can also be linked to changes in the chemical composition of olive oil after it has been frozen. The loss of antioxidants and the formation of lipid peroxides can contribute to atherosclerosis, a disease in which arteries become clogged with fatty deposits, increasing the risk of myocardial infarction and other cardiovascular diseases. For here is a real-life example of a young woman from the United States who wanting to preserve fresh olive oil for a longer period of time, decided to freeze it. After a few months, she thawed the oil and started using it for cooking, not realizing that the oil had lost its health benefits. After a while, she began to notice stomach problems and began to experience pain in her right subcostal region. Doctors diagnosed her with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which began to progress to cirrhosis. This came as a shock to her, as she had always considered olive oil a healthy product. But it turned out that improper storage had led to tragic consequences. To avoid dangerous consequences, never freeze olive oil. This disrupts its chemical structure and turns a useful product into a potentially dangerous one. Olive oil is best stored in a cool, dark place where the temperature remains stable and not subjected to extreme conditions such as freezing. If you want to extend the shelf life of olive oil, keep it in a dark glass bottle and use it within 6 to 12 months of opening. Avoid buying oil in large quantities unless you plan to use it soon. This will help you retain all the beneficial properties of the oil and prevent it from oxidizing. Thus, using olive oil after it has been frozen and then thawed is a mistake that can cost you your health. Changes in the chemical composition of the oil can lead to the formation of toxic substances that cause stomach cancer, liver cancer, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and other diseases, and coronary heart disease. To protect yourself and your loved ones, store olive oil properly and avoid freezing it. Your health depends on the proper handling of this valuable product. Mistake 9. Using olive oil for cooking in the microwave. Risk of toxic compounds. This mistake can lead to serious changes in its chemical composition, which can eventually cause serious diseases, such as lung cancer, esophageal cancer, chronic lung disease, and cardiovascular disease. When exposed to microwave radiation, the beneficial components of olive oil are destroyed, and toxic compounds such as aldehydes are formed, which are extremely harmful to your body. Microwave radiation used for fast cooking affects the olive oil molecules, causing them to vibrate and heat up. In doing so, the oil not only loses its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, but also undergoes degradation at the molecular level. One result of this process is the formation of aldehydes, toxic compounds that can penetrate and damage cells. Aldehydes can cause oxidative stress, which leads to inflammation and mutations in cells. This significantly increases the risk of cancer, especially lung and esophageal cancer. Studies show that regular consumption of food cooked with microwave-exposed oils can increase the likelihood of developing these cancers by 20 to 30%. In addition, aldehydes have a devastating effect on the lungs, causing chronic inflammation such as chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD. They can also contribute to cardiovascular disease by damaging blood vessels and increasing the risk of myocardial infarction and stroke. A real-life case study: a man from the US cooked his food daily in the microwave using olive oil to make his meals healthier. He truly believed that olive oil protected his health, but he did not realize that this cooking method was the cause of his future problems. A few years later, he began complaining of frequent shortness of breath and chest pain. An examination revealed he had the early stages of lung cancer and signs of coronary heart disease. Medical professionals believe that one of the reasons for the development of these diseases was the consumption of food cooked with microwave and olive oil. To avoid dangerous consequences, never use olive oil for microwave cooking. This cooking method destroys the beneficial properties of the oil and creates dangerous compounds that can cause irreparable damage to your health. It is best to use olive oil in dishes that are cooked at low temperatures, such as for salad dressings, marinades, or to add to cooked dishes. If you need to cook or reheat food quickly, use alternative methods such as baking or stovetop braising. This will preserve the beneficial properties of the oil and prevent the formation of toxic substances. Thus, using olive oil for microwave cooking is a serious mistake that can cause lung cancer, esophageal cancer, and other serious diseases. Microwaves destroy the beneficial components of the oil and turn it into a source of toxic aldehydes that can cause irreparable damage to your health. Protect yourself and your loved ones by avoiding this cooking method and only use olive oil in dishes that are cooked at safe temperatures. Your health is your most important asset, and protecting it depends on your conscious decisions. Mistake 10. Using olive oil for long-term food storage. Risk of botulism. This mistake can be fatal. Using olive oil to store foods such as vegetables or herbs for long periods of time without proper sterilization can lead to the development of a deadly disease called botulism. This threat comes from the bacterium Clostridium botulinum, which is capable of causing severe illnesses such as botulism, accompanied by paralysis, respiratory failure, and ultimately death. Olive oil, due to its antioxidant properties, is a popular choice for storing foods such as garlic, peppers, or herbs. However, when these foods are preserved in oil for long periods of time without strict sterilization conditions, they can create an ideal environment for the development of Clostridium botulinum, the bacterium responsible for the production of botulinum toxin, one of nature's most potent poisons. Botulinum toxin blocks nerve impulses and can cause paralysis of muscles, including the respiratory muscles, leading to respiratory failure and death unless immediate action is taken. Botulism often begins with symptoms such as double vision, difficulty swallowing, and muscle weakness. But without immediate medical intervention, a patient's condition can quickly deteriorate. Studies show that even small amounts of botulinum toxin can be deadly. Specifically, a study conducted by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, in the United States found that cases of botulism are often linked to the consumption of home canned foods, including those that have been stored in oil. In most cases, the contaminated food looked and smelled normal, making the danger even more hidden. As an example from life, take a family from the United States who made homemade preserves using olive oil. They stored garlic and peppers in the oil, planning to use them to enhance the flavor of their dishes. One day, at a family dinner, these canned foods were used, and within hours, several family members developed symptoms, including difficulty breathing and paralysis. It was later discovered that the cause was botulism, which resulted from improperly storing the food in oil. Fortunately, everyone survived, but immediate medical intervention was required, which saved their lives. To avoid the risk of botulism, never store food in olive oil without following strict sterilization conditions. If you plan to can vegetables or herbs in oil, make sure all jars and lids used are thoroughly sterilized. Use only fresh ingredients and follow proven canning recipes that call for safe storage conditions. Also, store such foods in the refrigerator and consume them within a few days. Never store foods in oil at room temperature for a long period of time, as it significantly increases the risk of Clostridium botulinum. Thus, using olive oil to store foods for long periods of time is a potentially deadly mistake that can lead to the development of botulism. This severe neurological disease can cause paralysis and respiratory failure, making it one of the most dangerous health threats. To avoid such consequences, strictly follow the rules for sterilizing and storing foods in oil. remembering that your health and life depend on your caution and awareness. How to use olive oil safely for maximum benefits. Here are a few key aspects to keep in mind to help you avoid serious mistakes and stay healthy. Stick to these guidelines and olive oil will become a valuable part of your diet, providing your body with nutrients and protecting it from disease. Let's start with the most important thing. In the choice of oil, pay attention to the origin and quality of the product. Preference should be given to extra virgin olive oil, which retains all the beneficial substances. Make sure the oil is produced in a region known for its olive growing tradition, such as Italy, Spain, or Greece on the packaging. Look for quality markings such as DOP or IGP, which confirm the authenticity and high standards of the product. Storage of the oil is another critical aspect. Olive oil is sensitive to light, heat, and air, so it should be stored in a dark glass bottle tightly closed, away from direct sunlight and heat sources. The storage temperature should be stable and should not exceed 15 to 20 degrees Celsius, 59 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. This will help avoid oxidation and spoilage of the oil, preserving its freshness and beneficial properties. Olive oil, despite its many health benefits, should be consumed in moderation. This is due to its high caloric content, approximately 120 calories per tablespoon. It is recommended to use the oil for salad dressing, adding it to cooked dishes or making sauces, avoiding excessive consumption. Moderation is the key to staying healthy and maintaining a normal weight. Remember to regularly check the freshness of your oil. Olive oil has a limited shelf life, and after this time it loses its antioxidant properties and can become rancid, even if the oil is stored under ideal conditions. It is recommended to use it within 6 to 12 months of opening the bottle. Signs of spoilage include discoloration, foul odor, and bitter taste. If you notice any of these, it is better to get rid of the oil and purchase a fresh one. Take into account the individual characteristics of your body. Olive oil is rich in fatty acids, which can be hard to digest in some people, especially if you have gastrointestinal problems. If you have such problems, consult your doctor before consuming olive oil on a regular basis. In some cases, you may need to adjust your diet or choose lighter oils. Olive oil is ideal for salad dressings, marinades, and adding to cooked dishes. But don't be afraid to experiment with using it in other cooking techniques. For example, you can add butter to soups and stews after cooking is complete to retain all of its beneficial properties. Butter also combines well with whole grains and legumes, increasing their nutritional value and enriching their flavor. Conclusion: the proper use of olive oil is an art that requires attention to detail. Choose a quality product. Store it in the right conditions. Observe moderation and take into account the peculiarities of your body. By following these simple recommendations, you will be able to enjoy all the benefits of this amazing oil, ensuring your health and longevity. Remember that every drop of olive oil, used with care and attention, brings you closer to a healthy and happy life. What do you think about this? Do you agree with these statements? If there are any questions, ask them in the comments. More information on this topic can be found at the links in the description below this video and on our channel. Subscribe and hit the bell for all notifications. Please like and share this video with your friends. Thanks to our sponsors for their support. I eagerly await your comments and encourage you to watch these useful videos.